Welcome everybody who's showing up. Thanks for being on time. We appreciate it. We'll get started here in a few minutes.
Yeah. Investors are so notorious for being on time. It's one of the things we're great at, right?
One of them.
Yeah. So I tell people things we're great at, we are truly amazing at. Things that we are bad at, it's a train wreck. So you back home now? Last time we were talking, you were in St. Louis or something doing doing your Airbnb.
Yeah, I am back. I've been back for a while. I think even last time that we talked, I was back. But I might have been traveling someplace.
Mm-hmm.
I've been traveling a ton the last couple months
Yeah.
to like different masterminds and then the Bigger Pockets conference. And
How was that? That's probably great for you, right?
I really enjoyed it. It was
Yeah.
great. I mean, you just never know what you're going to get there. I think it's all what you make of it.
Yeah.
So like you could just, sit in all the speech, the speaker stuff and take that in and just be kind of a spectator, or you can try to be part of it. And
Yeah.
that's what I was trying to do. Like I was trying to meet like the speakers and I was talking to people about deals. I got involved in this really amazing deal out in Las Vegas that I wouldn't have never knew about if I hadn't been networking and being intentional about what
Yeah.
I was there to accomplish. And so we're
Nice.
under contract on this sweet deal and hopefully closing here in a couple weeks.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'd love to go. It just always seems like it hits kind of right on top of a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I had to stop for a little bit because I just had I man, I did 3 trips over 12 days this year, and those just man, they just wear you out after a while.
Oh yeah. And
I
you
was
don't
like,
travel light either. You take all your gear with you.
man, I you know
I've
you know what's
seen
weird
some
is
of
I'm
that
at these
stuff.
events and I'm always like how are you transporting all of your stuff? What boxes and crates and nonsense do you have?
Yeah, tables and TVs and backdrops and signs and all that stuff takes up space.
Yeah, it does.
Welcome everybody. We'll get started here
Um,
in a minute. Are you still working on something, David?
yeah, I'm gonna get this background going. I finally found the one I was looking for.
Okay, cool.
Give me half a second here. Background, set an image. I've been meaning to get this anyways. Bam, bam, bam.
Welcome everyone. See everyone's kind of dropping into the room here.
There we are. Oof.
Oh, look at that fancy background.
Yeah, that I'm a little washed out, but that's okay. It's all
No, it looks
right.
good. Well, you are a little bit, but
Yeah,
the
I'm washed
background.
out. I've got to get it. I've got a that's it. Yeah, if I open the windows behind me, I bought these blackout curtains thinking it would be a good background, but with the because this isn't like a podcast room, this is my office. So the
Yeah,
podcast room, it's all set up just perfect, but that's not bad. So cool. So we got some people here. I'm
we
excited.
sure do.
Dude, we had such a good time the last time we did it. I definitely that's why I reached out and wanted to make sure that we could do it again because like I said, just even from that time where we met the very first time in San Antonio, I just love the value and everything that you and Privy offer to people. It's amazing. And again, I get to see a lot of softwares and do a lot of different things. And just again, fascinated with the approach that you and your team have taken to look at real estate and how you evaluate it and how you approach it. And I think it's incredibly unique. And it gives us a chance to really dive into those on market deals where you were stuck on Zillow or realtor.com before. So I'm excited to see this again and all the changes. I know you've done a ton of updates and stuff. I've got a
Yeah,
little
we sure
sneak peek
have.
at some of that. So I'm excited to see the full presentation.
Very cool.
Yeah. So there's going to be some people on here who've never heard of Privy. They came on because we made some posts or we sent them some emails. But yeah, kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Privy and let's get into it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for supporting us and all the
Yeah.
kind words. We are always upgrading and updating and upping the game over here. We've got a great team. Our team's growing every single day. It feels like
Yeah.
lots of new developers and customer success people to support all of our users and the team is really rounding out nicely. And you're right, we've got a bunch of new markets, some of the newer ones that we've added to Privy. And one of the things that I'm going to show you guys here in a moment is that we're the only platform that actually has direct to MLS data on scale.
Yeah.
And
And
so
that
that's
became such a big
critical.
thing a couple years back, right?
Oh yeah, there were several companies that, had kind of some and then lost it, and then there's, a lot of companies that said they had it and never did. And
Yeah.
once you see the difference, like you'll know that
Mhm.
you're not looking at direct to MLS, and it's really hard to get and it's hard to keep. A lot of
Yeah.
compliance and a lot of rules to follow, and that's great because we always wanted to build a platform where there's an ecosystem where professional real estate agents and
Mhm.
realtors can find investors and they can work together, right?
Yeah.
Investors can find investor friendly agents, and not every transaction needs an agent. But when you need one, you want the best ones, right?
Mhm.
And so we've been able to create a platform that kind of levels the playing field, that spreads out the work and takes, all of one side of the transaction or another off of, one party, and it makes it so it's collaborative. And so
Yeah.
everybody speaks the same language. There's some expectations that are laid out, and so people know what that's important to them and what they need to work on, and it just results in closed deals. So
Yeah.
that's always been our goal.
One thing I've seen, because I've been doing this for 2 decades, 20 something years, there's definitely far more synergy now between investors and realtors than there was before. Like before, it was like everybody was at war constantly. And
Oh yeah.
I think, especially anytime there's a little bit of a dip in the market, right, where it starts to go down a little bit, a smart realtor agent is out there going, oh my God, okay, like what do I do? How can I make up this shortfall, right? The same way title companies do. So certainly right now, I think they're definitely open to working with investors. And in the same way in the title business where we talk about, when times are good, they want to deal with investors. I'm like, but when the times are bad, you're really going to want to deal with us because we're the only constant. We're the ones that are always out there looking to buy, fix, renovate, improve neighborhoods and that type of stuff. So I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's a great way for us to work with agents through Privy.
Yeah, I think data just helps everybody kind of understand what's going on. And before a platform like Privy, we would kind of be operating in the dark.
Yeah.
Like what is a deal in like Dallas versus Denver versus Tampa? Like it's all different.
Mhm.
And then when you work with local real estate professionals who know those specific markets, you can even uncover more stuff that the data can't tell. The
Right.
data can tell a story, but there are certain things that just people who are on the ground doing business will just know. And
Yeah.
so you want to work with those people, and we've made it easier to find them with Privy, and again create an ecosystem where everybody can work together and know that they're looking at the same kind of data, and not just public record data or county record data. We have that too, but
Yeah.
the best data that agents use, that appraisers use, and we pull that raw data into Privy and make it useful for real estate investing.
Mhm.
Because the MLS by itself, I'm an agent. I've been in the business for 20 years,
Yeah.
and I've got access to MLS, but the MLS wasn't designed for even basic things like comping out properties,
No.
running analysis on homes. It's certainly not designed for tracking investment activity or building a buyer's list or finding off market leads. Like it's just not, that's not what it's designed for. So with that raw data, we can take it into our system and make it really useful for all the
Mhm.
things that we're trying to do in our business. And regardless of what your exit strategy is, whether it's wholesale or fix and flip, buy
Mhm.
and hold, short-term rentals, creative deal structure, or some variation, Privy will help you execute that strategy way
Yeah.
more effectively and give you the data that you need to analyze all your deal flow,
Mhm.
regardless of what you plan on doing with it.
Right. Well, ultimately, I think it's important to always understand, what's the maximum value that this thing is going to be, this property or, duplex or whatever it's going to be, what is it going to be worth on its best day, right? So that we can make some determinations in how we want to proceed with that. And you guys have some really cool tools. I can't wait for you to show everybody here.
Yeah. Before we jump into that, I mean, we are streaming this to some other
Mhm.
platforms. Tell us what REI closings
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, easy. So what we do, we work with investors and wholesalers all across the country. We're the nation's largest virtual transaction coordination company. So what that means is, it's funny, it's a little bit we fill that gap sort of like you do. For so many years, the guru culture would be just find an agent and get access to their MLS, which always seemed absurd to me. But clearly, we've talked about this, like MLS wasn't the answer. People thought
No.
it was, but it wasn't, right? Because it didn't have all the tools. Well, in the same vein, we were always told just get a title company and make them do all the things. And that's crazy. Like it can happen, right? Your brother-in-law works at a title company. He's of course going to do over and above for you. But what we do as transaction coordinators is we fill that gap between the investor and the title company, right? That gap that's in between there. And sure, the title company does do a title search, but there's so much that more that gets involved from the moment you go under contract. It's collecting all of the documents from the sellers, right? Death, death certificates, probate, divorce decrees, foreclosure, like all of those documents. Because what do we do as investors, right? Our goal as investors, first and foremost, is to help people, right? I think we all understand that, but we go out and we search for problems, right? I think you'll talk about that here in a little bit. And then we love to stack problems, right? Because the more problems a seller has, the bigger discount we can offer, right? Because we can solve that problem, which is great. What do we do on the backside of our business? We tell our end buyers, hey, I'm going to offer you clear title and we're going to prorate taxes. So the more problems you have, somebody has to unwind all of those things, right?
Yeah.
So, if it's getting this out of bankruptcy or stopping a foreclosure or doing all of those things, that's what we do. And we've grown, exponentially, a lot like you the last couple of years. We're growing tremendously, so much so that we had to shut our wholesale business and coaching business down just to make
I
sure that we
heard
focus.
that's a shame. It's a shame.
It was very hard for me. I'll tell you, I've been a full-time wholesaler since June of 2009. So like if you asked me what my pronoun was, I would say wholesaler, right?
Right.
Like I literally identify as an investor and a wholesaler. So that was a very hard decision. But when we were building this company and it was getting as big as it was, I needed everybody here focused on serving our clients and
Yeah.
making sure that everybody came in and from 8 to 6 every single day we were focused on getting our clients deals closed, right? We want them to do more deals, make more money, and have more freedom. So it was a choice we had to make. And we someday we can always go back to wholesaling, but for right now we're really focused on not only growing our transactions company, but we're also opening a pretty big title company. It's not going to be nationwide, but it's going to be in probably 8 or 10 biggest states in the country. And that's rolling out January 1st. So we have lots of things going on, but ultimately our goal is once somebody uses Privy and locks up the best deal that they can find, which is awesome, right? Because technology now you can bounce all over the country, right? So we want to help them get those deals closed and compress time and get them closed just as quickly as possible. So that's just a little short version of what we did. That was probably a little more convoluted than you were looking for.
No, I love it. That's
Yeah.
there's so many parts of the transactions. We're going to show you guys today how you can, find the best markets to invest and, build your team, you do local market research, become a local market expert very quickly, and then start to write offers. And then at that point, other people have to get involved. The title companies can get involved. A company like David's is going to get involved, who can do the transaction coordination, make sure the balls aren't dropping. So part of what my goal always is to help people connect the dots.
Yeah.
And Privy doesn't do it all. It can do a significant amount of the work for you and in an automated way. But once the deal's under contract, then we're gonna have to bring in others. So check out easyreiclosings.com to learn more about virtual transactional funding using David's team when you get deals. And you will if you do what I show you tonight.
100%. I'm excited to see it.
Cool. So this is the Privy platform. It's a web-based software. You can access it from any device that has an internet connection. We've got a mobile optimized version of Privy, so you can log in on your phone. You can run comps. You can search for homeowners. You can use it while you're out, driving for dollars, or if you're just, driving down the street and you see that house that has the grass overgrown and mail's falling out of the mailbox, and it looks vacant. You're like, man, what's going on with that house? Just type the address right in, and Privy will build a comparative market analysis, so you can analyze that property, find owner information, and be able to analyze that property and decide if you want to do something with it. But what I've realized many, many years back was that most investors look for deals based off of convenience.
Mhm.
And I use convenience nicely, but really I mean because they're lazy, right? And laziness is, there's complacency, and there's, what's close, what's the closest thing to us, what's in our own backyard, what's familiar, what's comfortable. And those are not good reasons to look and spend all your hard-earned cash and time and valuable resources trying to cultivate deals and really build a real estate investing business. You shouldn't rely on that. What you should rely on is tried and true business practices, and based off of what other investors are already having success with. And the way you do that is by tracking investment activity. So Privy is the best platform at tracking what other investors are having success with. And then we use that as a tool to educate ourselves on shortening the learning curve, giving us a quicker path to success and getting a better desired outcome, with less money and a whole lot less time. So what you're looking at right here is a coverage map. This is showing you what I was talking about earlier, which is those direct to MLS data markets. These are the markets where we've already laid the foundation, we've negotiated, we've got that raw data coming over our system. And so you can use that to give you the best tip of the spear data to be able to analyze properties and really come to an accurate as is value, after repair value, and everything that comes along with it. Unfortunately, we were talking about what investors are good at, entrepreneurs are good at. We're good at hacking situations,
Sure.
right? Trying to do stuff for free, do everything on our own. And so
Yeah.
what that results in us doing is going out and using sites like Zillow to run comps or searching for deals. And we all know how bad those numbers are. This estimate, I think they say, is off like, 10, 20% in either direction, which makes it essentially useless for real
Right.
estate investing purposes. But for that homeowner who's like, I wonder what my house is worth,
Yeah.
right? That's not a bad place for them to start. But
Mhm.
when we're talking about numbers and we're talking about like a few percent in either direction, could literally mean the difference between you making and losing money, or
Sure.
getting into a deal you shouldn't be in, or passing up on a deal that you shouldn't have passed up on. Numbers matter, right? This is a game of numbers.
Right.
So those are some of the markets that we have. Some of the newer ones that we just launched: New York City, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Detroit, Michigan, it's Greenfield, South Carolina. What's the big
Greensboro, maybe.
uh
Greensboro. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Also we got a couple more markets in Florida,
Oh,
and
wow.
we got a bunch more coming too. So wherever you see red is where the markets that are coming. Everywhere where you see a yellow or grayish tones, that's where we have the kind of the standard industry data set, which you'll find in a lot of our competitor platforms, and that's county and public record data. Now,
Yeah.
that data is still valuable because it helps you to research homeowners, get assessors data. There are sales comparables. You can run 90% of the stuff you want to do there. It's just not as accurate, and you won't have photos because those photos come from the
Yeah.
MLS.
Dude, the photos are amazing.
It's
Amazing.
really important, and you don't realize how important they are until you don't have them. And you're like, what is this? It's street
Yeah.
views.
Yeah.
And street views, who knows how dated those are? Like, how often is that Google car driving by your house
Yeah.
with a little camera on top? Once a
Mhm.
year? I don't know.
Dude,
And
I
so,
did a street view the other day and I was looking across the street and it was woods. I went to the house Saturday and it was like 30 houses. Like that didn't pop up overnight. That's
no,
how outdated it is.
it is, and it's not very helpful. And but again, there are some places where that's just the way it is. And so there's over 600 MLSs out there, and we've got now over 100 direct to MLS markets, which
Mhm.
gives us over 80% of all the major populated areas in the US. So we've done the homework. We know the markets that you should be looking for deals in. It's the majority of the places that we have highlighted on the map here as blue.
Sure.
Now, over here on the left are these little investor activity easy buttons. And so this allows us to track what other investors are doing. And in the wholesale world, David, in fix and flip, and majority of the strategies, we define how good a deal is by a percentage of after repair value.
Right.
So what we do is we're trying to find out, like, a house that we can get that maybe needs some work. What percentage of that price is the closest fix and flip property that has similar characteristics.
Mhm.
And so right around 70%, 65% is where properties start to become deals. But you can't determine that after repair value if you're looking in an area where no one is flipping houses.
Exactly.
So when I click this button right here that says fix and flip, that's going to plot on the map where all the fix and flip activity is located nationwide. And this is irregardless of where it was acquired. So if it was acquired off market, sold on market, or if it was
Wow.
acquired on market, sold off, like it doesn't matter. We're tracking all of it. And so we have an
Totally.
algorithm that's identifying those two transactions, and they got it at a discount lower than 75%, and we're tracking all that. So there's no other way to do this. You can't go to a title company or the
Yeah.
MLS or public record and find flips. You
Yeah.
just can't do it. Right. So with the data here, you can see that there are certain areas in the United States that are hotter than others. So you want to avoid areas that don't have any blue or have small numbers like 3 or 1.
Saying in the middle of South Dakota, they are not flipping outhouses and barns.
Apparently not. Apparently, so that's a blue ocean
Great
for you
place to
there,
run your
right?
BBC. Yeah.
You want a blue ocean of flipping outhouses? Here you go, right here.
Ooh, you could be the king of South Dakota.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, some of these are pretty obvious, right? Like you want to completely avoid these
Sure.
areas. I mean, even areas like Sioux Falls and
Yeah.
Hays, Kansas, and Amarillo, Texas. Like you just don't want to be doing a bunch of business there. And honestly, you couldn't, but people force it. So I know there's people who
Yeah.
live in Amarillo who are like, oh, well, I'm going to go try to find wholesale deals, but where I live. And so they're going to go drive for dollars there, and they're going to
Yeah.
pull lists of foreclosures, and they're going to spend a bunch of money on ringless voicemail and text blasting, and they're going to get on the phone, or they're going to use a call center. And next thing you know, they're out of business in 4 months.
Yeah, ultimately you want to spend your time and your marketing dollars in the places that give you the highest opportunity for success, right? The way that we look at marketing dollars is I send it out, I want it to come back with 4 friends, right? So if my marketing dollar is somebody in my office doing this, or whatever it is, like it needs to come back with a 4 or 5x return.
It really does. And people are also blind to it too. Maybe they're
Yeah.
not even tracking their numbers, but they're just doing the things, right? I'll just do the things. And then
Yeah.
pretty soon they just burn out, and they don't even know why they did because they weren't tracking any KPIs.
Yeah. Yeah. I made that
So
mistake for a long time, so I get it.
it does. So you can see there's lots of markets here where there's lots of activity. Like Denver's got some decent activity here, Oklahoma City, um, down here, like the Dallas Fort Worth, Texas. This is one of the hottest areas in the whole US.
Yeah,
Is Dallas
for
Fort
sure.
Worth. And one of the other benefits of using Privy is that if you are in a state that's a non-disclosure state, meaning they don't publicly publish the sales price of a house, or they might give you a range, like it makes it really difficult for us to execute our jobs and trying to determine value if they don't publish the price, right?
Yeah.
And so there's 10 plus states right now that are non-disclosure. When you have our system, that non-disclosure issue goes away because the data is coming directly from the MLS and not public records only. Now we can still find ownership information, assessors data, but it's that amount of the sales price that the county won't show us if you're in those areas. So that's one of the main benefits. But again, finding the markets, where should you be looking for deals? So as we scroll through, we can see that there are some areas here where there's a little bit of activity, others that aren't. Alabama has some hot markets. If you go down into Florida is always hot.
Always great.
Probably one of the hotter areas right now is in the St. Petersburg and Tampa areas, but Orlando's really good. Jacksonville is a hot market.
Mhm.
And those are 3 areas that we've got direct to MLS. We've also got all the Fort Myers area, West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. So some really good areas there. But if we're going to take this a little bit further, let's say we decided, okay, I like Florida, right? It's a landlord friendly state.
Yeah.
It's taxes, and it's got a lot of investor activity. People are moving there. There's going to be high rates of appreciation, lots of benefits to live in Florida.
Mhm.
So if we drill down a little bit closer here, these clusters, they start to break up into smaller clusters. And then we can see that there's specific neighborhoods we want to be in. So David, like when we're analyzing properties to determine value, we have to look at that house like an appraiser would. Right.
Right.
So there's kind of standard comping practices. And one of the most important pieces of that is distance. So you want your comps, these renovated ones that we're trying to be close to, you want those to be within about a half a mile of where your subject property is located.
Right.
So when you drop yourself right in the middle of all this investor activity, the chances of you having a renovated comp within a half a mile is good.
Yeah.
As opposed to the opposite, which was in Hayes, Kansas, where no one was flipping. But
Yeah.
even right here in the Tampa market, like if you start to get really north here, up by the Tampa Palms, like you're lowering the chances that you're going to have a flipped house that's
Right.
close to your house that is similar as well, right? It has to have similar bedrooms and bathrooms and square
Sure.
footage.
And the mistake that a lot of investors make is they get like super optimistic, like, oh, this one over here sold for that. I'm going to use that as a comp. And especially if they're trying to wholesale it, a real investor is like, I don't think so, homie. That's not a real number.
Exactly. And a lot of people do that out of necessity. Like they're so
Sure.
hungry for a deal. They
Right.
get that one lead and they're like, man, I'm just going to ignore all the standard comping
Yeah.
practices because I need a deal so bad. I'm going to use that deal, that flipped house that's 2 miles away as a comp, right? Because they're forcing it. But when you can find a house that's unrenovated, that needs some work, that's maybe built in the 1950s, that's in this neighborhood, you have all of these flipped comps to help us determine what the after repair value is. And it makes it so much easier. So this strategy right here is called the reverse REI strategy. It basically means you begin with the end in mind. And with the end in mind means you look for deals where you know your comps are located and where buyers are buying, where all the ingredients you need to be able to assemble a deal are located. And this is one of those neighborhoods. There's other neighborhoods there, and it's any place that's blue on the map. So let's look at a couple of these. So this house right here, 1814 East Emma Street, looks like a flip to me, right? We can see the photo here. We're going to click that property. It's going to open it up in this report right here. And this is called a live comparative market analysis. Again, I've been an agent for 20 years. If I was going to go and try to build a comparative market analysis with my experience and the access to the data that I have and everything that I've done, it would take me all day. But Privy's building one of these for every house in the US, and they're updated live. So let's go down even more here. If you are a licensed individual, we can give you the agent and office information for your market. That's really powerful.
Yeah.
And we got the property details here, and then we get down into the comparable section. So Privy is pulling comps on these houses for us. Comping it's a challenge, right? And for a lot of people, there's like a lot of gray areas, but there's a lot of things that you can do to make comping way easier. And one of the things that I talk about is what's called a 4-star comp. 4-star comp is the best comp that you can use to analyze a property that you're evaluating and get an accurate after repair value. And the very first thing is that comp should be flipped. The second thing is that it should have closed yesterday. The third thing is it needs to be right next door to the subject property. And the last thing is it needs to be a mirror copy of your subject property.
Right.
So if you get those 4 things to happen, you've got the best comps available to prove ARV. Your subject property's ARV is what a 4-star comp just sold for. That's how simple it can be. But we know that 4-star comp is the unicorn, right? It's very elusive. It's not going to be around. So the further away you get from a 4-star comp, the less weight that value holds when proving after repair value. So this right here, this house is one of the homes that just sold. Okay. Now we've come down here into the before and after section, and
this is what I love right here, man. This is amazing.
Oh yeah. So what do you like about this?
Well, because here's what I've always tried to explain to people is we're looking for apples and apples, right? So if even if this is a 782 square foot house, there's lots of varieties of 782, right? This one happens to be concrete block, but even in Florida, there could be a stick built house. So, what I would have to do is go to Google or Zillow and look at my house and then start looking at a bunch of other houses to find out, is it the same type of house? So I love that, we can just scroll right down and look at the comps and go, here's exactly what it looked like before. Here's what it looked like after. And now, right now I can I can get a feel for what kind of work am I going to have to put into it to get 260.
Mm-hmm.
Like as an investor, now I'm like, oh, roof, windows. It looks like I can paint the block. Looks like they seeded it, pressure wash the sidewalk. Okay, I get it. Now now I have a good feel for what this thing's going to cost me.
Oh yeah. And there's some other valuable data here that will help educate us on, a viable deal. The next thing we come across it is, and one of those things is like this thing right here. This was purchased from the MLS.
Yeah.
So right here is an MLS ID, and we can see that the agent who represented that was Ann Parker. So Ann Parker is an agent who likely has houses that need work.
Yeah.
And what's one of the best gold mines in this business is working with agents that can bring you pocket listings.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to reach out to Ann. If you're looking for an investor friendly, oh, go ahead, David.
No, that because people tend to do the same thing over and over again, right? She's probably someone that's tapped into the RIA, or maybe she's, her husband's a wholesale, like who knows, right? But if she's got one, very likely that she's going to have more than one. Like, would you say her name was Ann? Sorry, I've got my glass on. And typically probably is not doing oceanfront properties and then did this as a one-off.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably not the way this works, right?
Yeah, she probably would be like, I'm not putting my name next to that property. No way.
I'm not driving my Bentley over there,
Yeah. But on the other side of the coin is when you're looking for investor friendly agents who can help represent you on deals, maybe find your properties, be boots on the ground for you if you're working virtually. And on the right over here is Camila Caserta, or Camille. Camille is an investor friendly agent.
Yeah.
And we know she is because she represented a fix and flipper. And it's not easy to get the business of a fix and flipper. You have to earn it. Yeah. And if the agent isn't holding up their end of the bargain, or if they're slacking, they'll find another agent.
I fired a lot.
So Camille here would be somebody that if you were looking for an investor friendly agent, you would want to work with. And again, there's an agent that's associated with all the deals that were sold on market. Yeah. And we can see all those. Yeah. Now, here's where it gets really, really interesting. This was an MLS deal, right? And we know there's a lot of people out there spending money on marketing. They're knocking on doors. They're looking at foreclosures and bankruptcies and probates. And, they're having a lot of trouble getting stuff because they think you can't find a deal on the MLS.
Yeah.
Well, look at this one. This was an on-market deal. They got it for $100,000, sold it for $260,000. They got it at 38% of the after repair value. 38%. They grossed 160K.
Yeah.
So gross, that obviously that means that isn't less cost. They maybe put, 80 grand in their pocket or something like that. We don't know because that's on their own books.
Yeah.
But would you have thought that you could get deals from the MLS at 38%?
No. And that's a little bit of the fallacy in our, in our world, right? In guru world and coach world, that there's no deal. These deals don't exist out there. And then the other one, and it's a scarcity mentality of people saying, well, I don't want to pay agents. Like, well, dude, you're going to hire 5 dispo people and 10 acquisitions people and pay them $500 a week to maybe get you a deal, maybe not, when I could pay, at $5 to $6 grand to get this deal that clearly somebody made 100,000 on, because it's tough to spend 60 grand on 800 square foot. Like they didn't do that much. It's a concrete block house on a slab, right? So there's only so many dollars that you can put into this thing. I mean, an absolute home run. Investors obviously existed before wholesalers were around because they were able to, to find these types of deals.
It's true. Yeah. But also, to be clear, the wholesaler or the fix and flipper who finds these deals on the MLS, they don't pay the agents.
Right.
The sellers do.
Yeah.
The seller, that the price that they bought it for 100 grand. If they factored in $6,000, 3% for the agent who brought the buyer and 3% for the agent that listed it, the seller is only counting on netting, right around 94 grand less closing costs. So they're already expecting to get that. So again, for you people who don't want to do MLS stuff, it's way less headache. It's zero out of pocket cost for you. Yeah. The seller pays those commissions.
Yeah.
And then over here on the right, we got the timelines. So you can see that this thing was under construction for only 79 days. They were in and out of there pretty quickly.
Quick.
They overpriced it. It was on the market for 75 days. But the total time from when they bought it to when they put the check in the bank was 154 days. So it helps to wrap our minds around timelines. How long does stuff really take?
Yeah.
Because if you think a project's going to take 3 months and you're looking around the neighborhood and it's taking everybody else 9 months, well, red flag. Like it may take longer than you think it's going to be. Below that, we got the public record session. And what's cool about this piece is just not just standard public record info, but extracting the most valuable information about this is who did the flip. So as a wholesaler, it's our jobs to go and build a viable buyers list, fix and flippers or landlords that are doing deals that need deal flow. They're who is in demand of properties, and it's fix and flippers and landlords. So Perez Flipping 101 LLC is a company that is doing deals, and they're the ones that found this house on the MLS. So I already know some stuff about Perez, right? I know Perez will buy stuff from the MLS. Some flippers, you have to convince them that that's okay to do. We also know that Perez will buy in Tampa in 33610, and they'll buy a 2-1 792 square foot ranch. Like, we're getting some insight. We get to see behind the curtain. We're privy to information we probably shouldn't have, because we're looking at this comparative market analysis. And so this makes it really easier, a lot easier, let's say, to have a conversation with Perez Flipping about their buy box and their needs. And a cold conversation prior to this data can turn into a lukewarm conversation, because you can share this information with them. You can say, hey, Mr. Perez, this is Benson. I just wanted to give you a quick call. I came across that house that you just closed on East Emma Street last week. And I got to tell you, that thing looks amazing. Like, it's completely unrecognizable from when you bought it earlier in March. But you did a really good job with it. I mean, it's a small house, but when you look at those photos, it looks like it's twice that big. Like, great job.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm calling is because, we're doing some marketing. We're coming across deals in that area. And honestly, we just don't have the bandwidth for everything we come across. And, sometimes we just find things that don't fit our buy box as well. And so, I want to find an active flipper investor who's really making moves and send them some stuff, and hoping maybe I can find something that works for you and what you're looking for. And we can JV, or, I might assign some stuff to you. Is that something you're open to?
Yeah. Great.
And they're going to be like, heck yeah. Right. So that conversation is way better when you leverage the data that we are able to harvest from this investor activity, learn what the local investors are doing, what are the local market realities, where the hot areas are at, and teach yourself the real estate business.
Yeah.
Not being so focused on lead generation. And that's where most people get caught up, right, David, is just lead gen.
Yeah. And that, they never get out of that, out of that box that they're in there. No, I absolutely love it. And, you're talking about, talking to Perez Flipping, it's, don't overcomplicate it. These are just conversations with regular people. That's all that it is.
Yep, it is. And again, when you have a CMA in front of you like this, it helps me, at least, to have something to talk about with them. So we're not talking about, the Tampa Bay Lightning, or we're not, talking about, a guy, wish Tom Brady was back. Maybe we could,
no. Leave him in New England. Just take it easy with all
that. So we can talk real estate, right? And we can demonstrate to that flipper that we've done our research, that we can drop some nuggets of information that shows them that we know what we're talking about, and we can increase the value in ourselves that makes them want to work with us. Because that's really what it comes down to. And much of that stuff too is probably subconscious to them. Like, they don't even know why they want to work with you. But when you're demonstrating some of those things by talking about deals they've closed, it starts to really bridge that gap.
Yeah. And one thing all investors want to do is talk about themselves and their business.
That's what we do. That's just human nature, right?
Sure.
Everyone from investors to entrepreneurs to, people who just, are doing their own thing. So here's another thing. So this one was also an on-market deal. This investor came in and flipped it. And this right here would change my paradigm on, oh my gosh, like there are flippers that are buying stuff at 63% of the after repair value from the MLS.
Yeah.
So this is, in my mind, a higher value buyer that I want on my list
Mhm.
because I know they're willing to buy from the MLS and I know they're willing to pay up. They don't
Yeah.
need something at 50% or lower for the numbers to work for them.
Mhm.
Now, do they hit a home run and walk away with, 100 grand? No, but that doesn't matter if I'm wholesaling.
Yeah.
And again, we're not just talking about wholesaling here. We're talking about finding deals. So if you
Right.
are looking for your own deals, or if you're an agent and you are looking for deals for your clients, then it's
Mhm.
important to understand this scenario. But I do talk about the wholesaling part of it because I think that everyone should be in the business of wholesaling, because what's going to happen is if you use Privy the way I'm showing you guys how to use it tonight, you're going to have way more deal flow than you can handle.
Yeah.
So if you're flipping deals, you're going to find some stuff on Privy. Privy's going to still be out there looking for deals for you, and you're going to come across another property. Instead of just ignoring it, write that offer, get it under contract, and then go and sell it to Riverside Heights Capital.
Right. You know what's amazing? If you scroll up just a little bit here, there's something I meant to bring up on the last property. Scroll up just a little bit to where you got that the before and after price. So there you go. So many
Mhm.
times when we are talking to people, sellers, they're like, "Well, the house down the road just sold for 395," and that's true. But
Right.
Mrs. Smith, you don't have that house. Your house looks like, let me show you these pictures, the before pictures, right? So that's what it's worth in today's condition. I think it'd be amazing if you had 130,000 to put into it to go ahead and fix it up. But this is what that house sold for before it was fixed up, right? So, as you're looking at these comps and saying, "Oh, my house over on Elm Street, I think it could be worth, 3 blocks away, it could be worth what this house on Knoll Street is." Knollwood, like you have to know what to offer, and this gives you that right there without having to do a lot of research. Oh, that sold for 250. If I can get it for 250 or less, I should be okay.
Right.
You know, so I
Yeah,
think
it
I think that's
does.
really powerful.
There's a lot of different ways to leverage this data. And you're right.
Sure.
Like being able to educate a seller and show
Mhm.
them the local market realities,
Yeah.
that is really, really helpful.
Right.
Um,
Because sellers don't know. They're optimistic like the rest of us and always, looking to get the best deal they can. So that's, when we're talking to them, we have to understand what their motivating, circumstance or what their pain point is, right? Like,
yeah.
oh, great, Christine, you need to move to Phoenix because your cat has psoriasis or whatever. Fantastic. I'd love to help you and get that done. Let me show you what houses like yours in your current condition we're selling for
Right.
250, you know. If I could get you,
Exactly.
you know, closed very quickly on an all cash offer, what would you be willing to do?
Yep. And then they have different options, and the data doesn't lie. Right.
No.
So the data is just, it's I guess it's fuel
Mhm.
to present your offer, and have the data to back it up.
Yeah.
So I showed you the kind of how we do this local market research, and I believe if you go back and you look at the last 10 to 20 properties that closed in a particular area, you'll get up to speed fairly quickly on what works in that market. Who are the operators? What percentage of ARV should you be buying properties at? What are the price ranges? And then it's time to start generating leads that you can go and acquire. And so, again, we want to be making sure we're looking for properties in this area. So this is where you're going to drive for dollars. This is where you're going to tell your agent to go look for deals for you. This is where you're going to pull lists from.
Yeah.
So with Privy, we give you the ability to export 10,000 leads per month for
Oh,
free with your Privy platform. And so you can pull anything from absentee owners to foreclosures, vacancies, zombie properties, tired landlords, you know, owners that have owned properties for many, many years. So we
mhm.
have the ability to identify these people, but it's way more valuable using this strategy to pull a list than it is to pull a list doing the old fashioned way where you just say, like, I live in this zip code. So let's get all the zip codes around here and we'll pull
Yeah.
lists. Well, you're going to fall that same situation I mentioned to you before. You're going to find maybe someone who wants to sell, but you're not going to be able to prove ARV because no one's flipping. And then
Right.
you have to give them a really, really low ball offer to make your margins work. And then that's when sellers get pissed.
Yeah.
That's when people
Yeah.
get cussed out and they get told to leave their properties because they didn't target the right area.
Exactly.
So that is the way you would pull list. The next thing is there anything on market that I can buy today? So we have created this proprietary
I love
search
this.
engine. It's an
Yeah.
algorithmic based search engine that will find deals for you based off of all these other deals that closed before. So it uses those as a model for what a successful deal looks like, and then it reverse engineers it. So if I click find similar active deals right here, Privy's going in and it's pulling comps on all the properties that are in this area, and it's only going to find us houses that match our specific deal criteria.
Bro, this is
Now,
genius. Just genius. I told you the same thing last time. Stunned when you showed me this.
yeah, it's crazy. It is
Yeah.
absolutely insane. And when people first see it, they're like, that can't be, it can't be that easy.
That's
They're
what I
like, I
told
just
you. I'm
spent
like,
$10,000
what?
on a mailing campaign, and
Yeah.
you're showing me I can do this with a click of a button.
Yeah, these are like properties ready to go right now. Like even at the price they're listed at, they're a deal.
Right. And so our first filter, it starts at 75% of the ARV or lower. So depending upon your local market research, that might work. That probably works in LA and
Yeah.
Seattle and Boston, but it's not going to work here. And I know
Right.
that from the data. So let's lower this to say 58% of the ARV. Let's say we talk to a buyer and they're like, I'll buy anything under 58% in and around Seminole Heights.
Yeah.
And then we could say, okay, cool. What do you want to spend? And they'll be like, okay, well, I don't want to go over a certain price. So let's say that they don't want to go over 400 grand. So we're looking for properties that we can get at 50%, 58% of the ARV, lower than 400 grand. We could add in year bill, whether it has a basement or not, bedrooms, bathroom requirements. We get to really get defined on that buy box.
Yeah.
And then we can let the algorithm find those for us. So let's just say we were going to go ahead and run this search. Now, again, there's nobody who's more motivated to sell a house than somebody who put their house on the MLS.
Sure.
We just have to make sure the numbers work. So here's a couple of homes. This house right here, it's for sale for 260. It's a very interesting house. Looks like it's pretty run down. It's built in 1964. Looks original. You got asbestos all over the ceiling. Really, this place needs a full renovation. But these are the kinds of houses that we want, though. We need stuff that we can add value to. So if I scroll down into the comparable section, I do want to broaden this a little bit. So let's say we increase this. Our standard square foot tolerance is 15% plus or minus. But I'm going to go ahead and increase that a little bit to see if we can bring in some more data here. And it looks like, we found some more comparables. And our house is for sale for 260 grand. And the closest comp that 384, 400, 369. You got some under contract comps as well. This one didn't sell for as much as we would have liked, but there's renovations happening in the neighborhood. This one's pending for 350. Got some active listings as well. And we got rentals in this neighborhood too.
Yeah, I know you were telling me about adding the rentals. I think this one's ripe for making an offer, a low offer.
Yeah, you could come in here and write an offer on this right out of the gates.
Yeah,
and there definitely is some investor activity here where you can make the numbers work. This is a decently sized home. It's almost 2,000 square feet. It's a 3-2.
Yeah, I think that's why there's low comps, because in some of these it's probably abnormally large. They maybe added that second story, so you're getting you're getting a little bit of extra square footage, which will have value on the other side of being remodeled.
It absolutely will. So this is something I would definitely take a closer look at. I think we would have to come in lower than ask price because a lot of the comps in the area are much smaller. So I would just save this, put it in one of my folders, or I could favorite it, come back to it and analyze it. Let's see if there's another one here that we can look at that.
Yeah. And on that one, I'm calling I'm going to call that agent and go, hey, I see this house. Looks like you've had it on the market for a while. Looks like it may be a little overpriced. Are the sellers motivated? Are they looking to get this thing done pretty quick? If so, I can make them an offer, but I just can't be at 260. Just dip your toe in there and test the water.
Yeah, and this one right here, it's for sale for 190. And the closest, well, this is really cool. This is kind of like why we do the reverse REI strategy in the first place.
Yeah.
So this house is 190. The three closest sales were all flips.
Look at
They
that.
range from 331 up to 379. So
And
this
look at that. They're
house,
all between 180 and 207.
yeah. And look
Yeah.
at those percentages there.
Yeah. Dude, it's like having the teacher's book, right? When you're in high school. Like these are the answers. Like you have the answers to the test. You just go find the deal.
I know it's crazy.
Right.
And here's the other thing that people say too is they're like, well, if it's on the MLS, isn't there going to be a lot of competition? You're going to have competition on deals no matter where you look.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the things I know about list pulling, public record data, like if you pull a list of foreclosures, anybody else that is also pulling foreclosures has the exact same list that you do.
Yeah.
And guess who else is marketing to lists? Everybody and their mother, even if they have zero experience, they have no way of putting earnest money down, they've never closed a deal before, they're still marketing to those same people.
Yeah.
What's cool about MLS deals is that there's some barriers to entry. So you got to know how to work with an agent. You have to put together a proof of funds letter. You have to have the ability to source an earnest money deposit, either from a buyer or from your own money. So that automatically eliminates a lot of the competition, even though it is on the MLS. So I believe that you're going to have more competition with off-market properties than you will with on-market properties because of the barriers to entry. But they're really simple problems to solve.
And honestly, I've been doing this a long time. You can count on your competition being lazy and mediocre. 100%. They're gonna make a call or they're gonna send an email and they're never gonna follow up and they're not gonna be taken seriously. And if you present yourself as somebody who is here to do business and solve the problem, and the realtor's problem is getting rid of this deal, right? Getting it off the
100%.
books or his books, whoever.
Yeah. So I was just showing you guys the software. I showed you how you can become a local market expert. I showed you how you can find the best markets to target. I hopefully made a case that you don't want to just look in your own backyard for deals, because you're going to end up spending time and money finding leads that aren't viable.
Yeah.
And so with the reverse REI strategy, it puts you in a better position to become a local market expert, really understand what people are buying properties for, what they're selling them for, and then give you the ability to leverage our comping algorithm to get an accurate after repair value using the exact same data that agents and appraisers use. And also the ability to turn on our deal finding algorithm to send out the feelers, find those opportunities for you, and then send them to you automatically while you're living life. You don't have to be sitting in front of a computer all day. You don't have to be on the phone all day dialing for dollars. You don't have to be driving around neighborhoods and looking for vacant houses.
That's
You
how
could
we did it in the old
literally,
days, man. That's how you had to do it. But now, my God, you guys have all the best tools. And I don't think you pointed it out in that screen back a little bit. Like there was a privy, like an agent who wanted to work with investors. Like there was somebody right there, click that person. She wants to work with you.
oh yeah, yeah, that's one of the things that we added. I didn't highlight it, but there's more training that we could definitely do.
Yeah.
We have investor friendly agents that are privy users that know exactly what you're going through and or do want to work with you. We've got hundreds of them across the country. So who does this work for? Well, we've got fix and flippers, buy and hold investors, wholesalers, creative deal structure, seller financing, subject to hard money lenders. We got some title companies that'll leverage Privy before to work with their investor clients. Obviously, real estate agents and realtors. So the whole spectrum of people who really just want access to better data to make better decisions and automate a lot of the tedious tasks that it takes every day to work our leads and to come to the possible deals that we need to write offers on. Any experience level. So if you're brand new, you've never done a deal, we'll help you close your first one. One of our partners, Jamil Damji, 70% of all of his students finds their first deal leveraging Privy and doing the same process that I showed you today. So brand new people, but we also have very experienced people who use Privy. So we got people who have been in the business for a long time that are scaling their businesses.
Yeah. And that could give you confidence that, if people like that and me and, some of these other guys are using it, then it works. Like it's not BS and it's not pretend. And, I remember what it was like to be new. Like it's so scary. You don't know, like, should I do this? Is investing even a real thing? Right. Because until you've done your first deal, you don't know. Right. It's like
True.
I've seen the YouTube videos, I've seen me this banana head on Instagram talking about doing deals, but is it real? And I love the data that you guys provide. You can literally see it with your own eyes. Somebody flipped this house. Here's what it looked like. Here's what it looked like after. Like, I can send my contractor over and go, make it look like this. What's this going to cost me? Like, I mean, you guys take so much of the guesswork out of this business. I wish I had this in, 2004 when I was starting.
You're right about the guesswork, and that's paralyzing for a lot of people
It
when they don't
is.
have a
It's
clear
scary.
path. They're like,
Yeah.
man, I just don't know. I don't have confidence in my numbers. They're still trying to figure out, what the value is, what the ARV is,
Mhm.
how do they connect the dots? And so they just don't take action.
Yeah.
And what most of those people will do in the next, 4 or 5 months after they start, 9 out of 10 people are going to be out of the business.
Yeah.
And it's an unfortunate reality of what's going on here. But like these people right here, they've been using Privy and having massive success. There's just three of thousands of successful Privy users who have made literally millions
Wow.
from showing what I showed you guys tonight. And some of them are, I've like Christian, he's been around for a long time, but
Yeah.
he knows what works. He's closed over 300 deals that he got
Mhm.
from Privy.
Yep.
Mahmoud Isa, this was 600K when I talked to him, but it's over 1 million now, I think.
Yeah.
Michelle Garbito, she's
No.
traveling the world doing virtual
Yeah.
wholesale, never setting foot in many of the markets that she's targeting, doesn't do any marketing herself. And she told me about one of the deals she just closed. It was her largest assignment deal ever. And
Yeah.
she just plucked it right out of Privy. It was a 30K check.
Yeah.
No marketing.
And I'm telling you, like, that's huge. Like, you guys, where he keeps saying no marketing, like, I ran a traditional wholesale business for a lot of years, and I would spend $30,000 and $40,000 a month in direct mail and PPC and cold calling and texting and texting. Let's not even talk about that. We could do a whole hour on the debacle that is texting right now. But no, I mean, it's a phenomenal resource. And he's going to tell you what the price is here in a minute. It's freaking stupid cheap. The first time I saw it, I'm like, you guys do all of that for that? Like, the next closest competitor is more, and they don't give half of the data. So, just pay attention for a minute.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, a lot of people will see any sort of cost and second guess themselves. And for a lot of us, we've got budgets we have to operate within.
Sure, I
And,
get it.
yeah, I totally get it too. And
Yeah,
so, like when you see a price like this, oh my God, $1,788. But, if you were to just to close one deal, like that house I just showed you, that
yeah,
was at 50 something percent of the ARV.
yeah.
That's just one house we found just now. We'll find you hundreds and thousands of those
Yeah.
over the next 12 months.
Dude, it
And
costs
when
more
you
than that to be a realtor in one market. One. And you're not getting access to nationwide. You're not downloading nothing. Like, none of this stuff is there.
It's absolutely true. So if you use the tool, it will do exactly what it's designed to do. You just have to be the one that executes.
Yeah.
And that's why we have live training that we do twice per week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. There's lots of on-demand training. There's lots of things that you can do within the community. You can find other people that are taking action. But we put together a special offer for you guys that if you use the promo code EasyREI, we're going to take 30% off of the annual plan all the way down to $1,252 for the year. Okay. So
Or
we're going
even
to
the
give
other
you,
plan was 100. I just did the math, was $149, man. Like these are yours. You run a business if you want to be an investor. And I get it. Like, I bootstrapped, like, I was half a broke when I started, but you're going to have to put a little bit of money into this. And even at the $150 a month, like, when you average it out, that's nothing to be able to get access to this data. And it's always there, right? Like, I'm not waiting on some realtor to text her and, wait for her to give me comps. Like, that is the dumbest thing ever, right? I never understood people who are like, yeah, I'm gonna ask the realtor to comp this. Like, they have their own business. Like, this is your business. You have to be involved. You have to have access to this data to be able to make these decisions. Because what are you going to do when you're talking to an agent or a seller and they're like, yeah, okay, I think I'd take 88,000, but you're stuck in quicksand because you don't have the ability to look it up and see if 88,000 is a deal, or if I
yep.
could get her at 85, I can lock it in. Like, are you going to risk losing 20, 30, 40, $50,000 on a deal over $149 a month? Come on, man, that's crazy. That
Come
doesn't make
on,
any sense.
man.
Please tell me if you think that makes sense, because it doesn't.
It doesn't at all. And in any business where you're going to go and it's going to really give you a return on investment, I mean, there is no other business in the world where you can get started for little or no money.
Yeah.
But you don't want to hack that situation. Remember earlier where I was saying we're notorious for hacking situations and cutting corners. This is a place where you don't want to do it. So if you do decide that maybe the timing isn't right for the annual plan, then you can get started. And if you use that promo code Easy REI, you will take 20% off your first month.
Yeah.
And then it's just $149 thereafter. And then maybe when you close a deal or you come into a little extra cash and you want to upgrade to an annual plan, then you can, and you'll get to take part in the savings, whatever is available at that point. But it won't be what this is. This is an exclusive offer for David's group. So use that same promo code Easy REI. And then you're just going to go in and you're going to click that link. It's going to take you into the system. And then you're going to make sure you put the promo code at the bottom here. So just below the credit card field, there's a little link that says add promo code. Click add promo code, type in Easy REI right here. And you'll be able to go in and you get the discount. It'll lower it. You can also use this QR code. So you can do the QR code right there, and that will allow you to just scan it on your phone. It'll take you directly there. But remember to add that promo code right here. Okay.
So do this right now. Take your phone out, scan this screen, right? Because this is going to go away in a minute. You're going to be like, oh, darn, what should I have done, right? Get your camera out, scan this. Let's go to the website. Let's at least get it all filled in. If you're unsure, don't click sign up, right? But let's get this on your computer, because in 1 second, we're going to go on to something else and this is going to be gone. And, I'm just telling you from experience, because I've done this before. I'm like, oh, crap. Why didn't I scan that thing when I had the chance? So we'll pause for like 5 seconds here, get your camera out, flip it on, scan this, and then we'll keep going. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but also I didn't understand how QR codes, how cool they were, until like I started speaking on stage. I'm like, oh, they're the greatest thing ever.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Well, from stage, that make perfect sense, right? Because you can give out like this long link and they're going to write it down. But now with QR codes, they can just take a picture of it and they go right there.
Yeah.
I did put this in the chat for everybody too. So you can click it right from the chat. There's the promo code in there. There's the link, and that'll get you in there as well. But if you need to talk to your significant other or your business partner, go ahead and take that. We'll keep this open for you through the weekend. And then after that will go away. And then get ready, because we're going to be doing training next week. So we'll do some training on Tuesday for sure, because and then we won't be doing anything on Thursday because that's Thanksgiving.
Tryptophan fever or whatever it is there, right?
Yeah, tryptophan fever. So you'll probably be watching some football and eating turkey and hanging out with family, which is great. We all need those times with our loved ones, and take a breather for a little bit, right? Take our eye off the ball for a moment, just to just relax for a moment. But take advantage of this special offer. Maybe we'll even send out a replay to the group, David. I don't know if
we can do something like that. Guys, here's what's important. Like, this is like, I've coached a lot of people. Like, people pay me a bunch of money to get on these Zooms and do this stuff. And even my own team and our team leaders and managers, like, it's Thanksgiving. At this point, we have leadership meetings in our company. We are looking at 2024, right? So what is my goal for 2024? Like, even if you haven't done your first deal, you should be looking at, okay, what is my plan for next year? What do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish, right? And get those things written down. If you don't have a written plan, it's never going to happen. So, you can sign up for this, lock it in at a low price, right? And spend the next month figuring out, okay, here's how all this works. Here's how I do the comping. I can get on these 2 trainings a week. Message me. I will be happy to answer any questions if you go ahead and get signed up. And so that when you get into January, bam, you're ready to go. Do not mess around and go, oh, I'll do this in January. And then, because you're not going to do it, first off, right? And if you're not serious about investing, don't do it anyways. But if you are serious and want to do this, take your camera out, scan that. Let's get it going, so that by the time January comes, you can get out of the gate quick. For all you guys who are listening, I'm going to tell you, I'm an old guy, and at 52, you start looking at time a little differently, right? Like, it's so easy to lose a year. Like, I'm telling you, I was going through earlier my goals for 2023, and I'm like, God, I missed a couple of those. I should have worked a little bit harder. Like a year will go by in a flash, and it will be 5 years later, and you're going to be like, geez, I don't know why I didn't get privy when it was, $2,000 and now it's $8,000 a year or something. Or geez, if I just been wholesaling, I could have left this job, or, taken my kids and put them in the private school or gone on those vacations. Because I'm telling you, real estate will give you a life that, man, I never dreamed of. And honestly, there are days I feel like I don't even deserve the life that it gave me. But it started from taking action, right? Like I had to take that first leap of faith and, feel that that thing in the pit of my stomach and go, okay, this is a thing, this works. Dumber people than me have done this, and I'm smarter. And you've got to take some action. And I'm just telling you, I see a lot of stuff, a lot of softwares, and some of them are good and some of them are crap. And I'm telling you, Privy is, it's good. I would not get on here and waste my night, because honestly, guys, I don't feel good today. I'm really sick. But I made sure I stayed here at the office because I wanted to make sure we were bringing you guys something that will deliver incredible value, because I know a ton of my followers are really new, and this is a great way to get started.
Wow, I couldn't have put it better myself. Well, thank you everybody who sat with us tonight, and those of you that are going to watch the replay, feel free to reach out to our team at support@privy.pro. We got great customer service there. We got lots of really good trainers. The customer success team really goes above and beyond to make sure that when you buy the software, we don't just disappear into the night and take your money. Like, we really want to make sure that you get the maximum value out of the tool and get a return on that investment into the tool itself, but also into yourself. So take action. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore. We got all the support you need. David, thank you so much, man. It was good to see you.
You too, man.
I hope you feel better really soon. And if I can help out in any way, let me know.
Awesome.
Awesome. It's unfortunate that you're not feeling well, but thanks.
Doesn't happen often. It only gets me about once a year when I just get run down, and it just happens to be right now. But no, man, again, thank you for everything, for just being a friend and, and a colleague, and everything that you and everybody over at Privy does for our industry. I really, you guys have definitely changed the game with your software, and I'm excited to see all the changes that, you add in over the next year. And, guys, if you lock this in now, you're going to get the benefit of that, right? You're going to be locked in, because next year, I'm telling you, like, it's probably going to be $3,000 or $4,000, right? Like, I mean, it's going to go up because costs go up. So lock it in now at the lowest rate possible. And I appreciate you, giving everybody who came on a little bit of a discount. That was cool. We didn't ask for that, so that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, for sure, let's do this. If you guys have questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you in any way that I can.
Awesome, David. Well, hope everybody has a good evening. Take care. Let us know how we can help, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.